Hey everybody, Aaron Snyder and Kevin Morling with Cafaro International. Today we're going to talk about the Duplex hunting frame and go over a few of the key features, I guess, about the frame. We'll also go into initial fit when you get the pack, what to do to check to make sure it is correctly fitted for you. Kevin adjusts them out the door and he's usually spot on, but we'll go over how to check it. We're also going to go over the 3 stay options we have, or the 3 bends for the form of the back that you have, and then how to fine-tune the pack, I guess, as well. So we'll here in a second we'll get the pack on me, and Kevin will go how to check the pack when you first get it on your back. All right, well, we've got the pack. I got it on my back, and we're going to pretend like I just opened this out of the box. And what we're going to want to do to check it to make sure it's correctly fitted for me. We already know that it does, but we're going to pretend like it doesn't. So first buckle the belt. Now Kevin, where should this line up?
The middle of this belt, which is right in the middle of the strap here, should be on your hip bone. It should be right centered on the top of your hip bone right there. So the belt should be fit on each side of that hip bone. And that's how the belt should fit correctly.
It basically cups around the hip bone top to bottom. So I've got that centered right now, and these are the power pulls. I don't go too overly crazy when I initially get the pack on. We have pillows in this right now, but with the power pulls, you pull straight forward. You don't need to do anything crazy. Just pull forward and it'll suck the breath right out of you if you want. So, all right, step number 1, we got the belt on. What's next?
The next step you want to do is to tighten up your shoulder straps to where they're snug, but yet not, causing you any pressure or hot spots or anything like that. So then after you adjust those, this is the second step. The next step, you want to look at it, and you can look in the mirror, and if you have not much weight in it, and you can look in the mirror and see how much lift you have and what the angle of the lift strap is. But then you want to engage these lifter straps. So Aaron, you want to grab that other one and engage it to where it feels pretty. And you want to engage those to where they're feeling comfortable, and it's actually bringing the shoulder strap off of your shoulder and then forming this cup look. So it's actually, you can actually stick your fingers through here, or at least part of your hand, so that it's taking the pressure off of your shoulder and distributing most of the weight in this backpack, at least 70–80% of it down here in your hip area and your legs, where you can handle it properly.
And yeah,
more efficiently.
So stereo, textbook, you want 70% of the weight, 65% on your hips, and then 30% or so on your shoulders. But if any of you have packed out elk like Kevin and I have, after a while you're going to start transferring that back and forth. But you want to make sure when you tighten these straps, you get shoulder straps tight, and you pull on the load lifter straps, this 3-bar slider right here should be lined up with your clavicle. So when you get the pack on, the hip belt centered on your hips, you tighten the shoulder straps down, this should be in line with the clavicle. If that is not in line with the clavicle, the pack is not, it needs to be adjusted.
It needs to be adjusted, either through your lifter straps maybe being adjusted, or the shoulder straps actually might need to be lifted or lowered.
Yep, and this 3-bar slider should be between this stitch line and this stitch line, which is very hard to see. Should be dead center in the middle, and then that 3-bar slider should line up with the clavicle.
Right? That is exactly correct.
Okay, so what's
the next step is, like, if you want to snug these up a little bit, like when I have normally 40 or 50 pounds, I barely tug on them. I just get them a little snug, but I don't really mess around with it till I go up in weight where I'm like 50, 60, 70, 80 pounds on up to 100. Then you want to tighten them up then, but you do not want to get them to the point where they're actually causing the belt to pinch you.
Just snug.
Just snug.
Yep. So I got those just snug, and as Kevin said, I think this is more a personal preference than anything, how tight. You don't want to go very snug, but I leave them loose half the time until I got weight in, and
exactly.
you do the same thing. So
exactly.
All right, we got those snug. Now what?
All right, well, if everything looks like it's adjusted properly with these 3-bar sliders, like Aaron was saying, across your clavicle, and then the next step would be to engage your sternum strap. Now you can see on the shoulder strap here, you can put it in any position. Some people like it up above their sternum, some people like it below. But it just depends on the shape of your body and where it feels more comfortable. You certainly do, when you engage this and tighten it up, you don't want it tight. It just wants to be, you know, you want to be able to have a couple of fingers through there. You don't want it to be tight.
And a lot of guys Kevin sees, and I've watched it, he gets a guy fitted, and the first thing they do is reef on that. You don't want that. I don't even run my sternum strap. Kevin was giving me crap the other day because I cut this thing off of my other pack. Yeah, barely tight is all you should need.
Yeah, exactly. And once you get it to where you want it, the sternum strap, all you got to do is on the side here, just bring up this 3-bar slider, and you can slide it right up underneath it so it stays in the same position every time you put on the pack.
All right, so that is how to first get the pack fitted initially when you open the box, and you want to do that with a relatively low amount of weight, 15 pounds or so.